Malcolm and Robin here from World Whisky Day. Today we're at the Dewar's Distillery in Aberfeldy, learning how whisky goes from grain to glass. Next up on our journey, mashing and fermenting.
So George, the barley's been milled and then it's taken to this big hot shiny thing here, but what's going on?
Okay, so what we have here is the mash tun. Okay, we're going to take all that grist we made next door, we've milled next door, all 7.5 tons of it, put it in here with hot water, and the hot water is going to continue to transform the starches into simple sugars for us. So the hot sugary water makes its way through the bottom of the mash tun, is drained out, and that sugary water is then taken next door for fermentation.
We're gonna follow it now, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're in the tun room now, and the first thing you notice is the smell. So what's going on, George?
So this way we do the fermentation.
Yeah.
Okay, this way we're going to start making our alcohol. We're going to start off by bringing through the wort from the mash tun. When we bring it through, it has been cooled down to just room temperature, less than 20 degrees. And at this point, we then add in the yeast. And it's the yeast that's going to take in the sugars, start to make alcohol, and also carbon dioxide.
So yeah, all these smells sort of at once.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen things like this then, Robin?
No, and I mean, if I'm honest, they do look like massive whiskey casks, but where are they from? Are they specially made? Or?
Well, yeah, and they're made up in exactly the same way as a cask. However, when a single cask, which would keep whiskey in, is made by one cooper, one guy.
Yeah.
This will be made up by a team of coopers. Rather than using hammers, they'll be using sledgehammers, and these are all made on site. So the forward standing will have to be taken away, and each of these washbacks will be made individually by hand.
So inside is where it's all happening as well then, and yeah, you can see it sort of bubbling away in there.
Absolutely.
Dying to have a wee look.
Can we have a look?
Certainly, please do. Have a sniff. We're going to be fermenting here for 3 days in total. 3 days, yeah? In the first few hours, the yeast has already taken the sugars, it starts to make alcohol, CO2, and the strongest one here is the carbon dioxide. And the first day or so, that carbon dioxide is fizzing away like a fizzy drink, and it can bubble and foam up the sides, right up to the top. In fact, it could foam over the top if we're not careful. But then after the first day or so, the bubbling, the foaming dies back down as the yeast is running out of sugars. It all slows down. Now, a lot of distilleries ferment for maybe 2 days, 2.5 days, but we ferment for 3 days. That longer fermentation doesn't make us more alcohol or anything. What it does do is give us more fruity characters and flavours, and that fruity sweetness kind of comes through in the Aberfeldy single malt as well. So the length of time you ferment for, as well as the type of barley and the yeast used, all adds to the flavour, the character we're going to get in our whiskey.
And that's obviously the finished product, but there's another couple of stages to go yet.
Absolutely.
We're off to see them now.
All we're making here, of course, at this stage of fermentation, is like a simple beer.
Now that the mixture's been fermented, join us next time as we find out how it's distilled.